Pause for a moment, because what I'm about to tell you may explain the one thing you've been carrying in your heart for years. There is something happening in your life right now that you have not fully understood. A shift, a silence, are these things, a change in your heart, a feeling you cannot put into words. You don't know why you feel disconnected from your old life. You don't know why your heart feels heavier around certain people. You don't know why your plans keep getting delayed. You don't know why Allah is keeping you somewhere you don't want to be, or pulling you away from what you thought was yours. But listen carefully, because if your heart doesn't understand this, you will live confused, you will live frustrated, you will live thinking something is wrong with you, when in reality, something is finally becoming right for you. There is a moment that every chosen soul experiences before Allah reveals their blessing. A moment that feels like loss, but is actually protection. A moment that feels like delay, but is actually preparation. A moment that feels like silence, but is actually the beginning of a life-changing answer. Right now, you are inside that moment. You didn't click this video randomly. Your soul brought you here because you need to hear what comes next. Because the truth is this, your big reveal has already started. It just hasn't shown on the outside yet. There are subtle signs, hidden signals, quiet movements from Allah that show up long before the breakthrough arrives. But most people miss them. They rush, they panic, they doubt, they walk away too early. And they never realize that the moment they think nothing is happening is the exact moment Allah is doing the most. So before you scroll, before you move, before you let your mind wander, listen, because what I'm about to share with you might be the clearest indication that Allah is preparing to lift your life in a way you didn't even know was possible. And if you miss this message, you might miss the wisdom behind everything you're going through. Stay with me until the end. Not because of this video, but because this might be the moment your heart finally understands the chapter Allah is writing for you. Your 1 hour transformation begins now. Allah hides you when He's rewriting the version of you the world broke. My dear soul, there are seasons in your life where you feel like you disappeared. Not physically, but emotionally, spiritually, socially. You feel like your presence became quieter, your circle became smaller, your energy became softer, and your heart became more sensitive than ever before. This is not a coincidence. This is not something wrong with you. This is not failure. This is Allah hiding you. He hides you when your soul has carried too much for too long. He hides you when your heart has been running with wounds it never had time to heal. He hides you when He sees you pretending to be fine, while your chest feels like it's collapsing. He hides you when life has demanded more than you could safely give. Because the version of you the world saw, the strong one, the helper, the listener, the one who solved everyone's problems, the one who never said no, the one who kept smiling regardless, that version of you was built in survival mode. You adapted to pain. You normalized heartbreak. You accepted loneliness as routine. You got used to holding tears until you were alone. You learned to be okay with a heart that wasn't okay. And Allah, in His pure mercy, looks at you and says, enough. This is not how my servant will live. So He starts pulling you away from the noise. He takes you out of rooms where your presence is not valued. He removes you from conversations where your heart is misunderstood. He distances you from people who keep wounding your soul. He creates breaks in connections that were draining the light inside you. He silences the world around you so you can finally hear your own heartbeat again. And at first, this hiding feels uncomfortable. You feel forgotten. You feel disconnected. You feel like you are falling behind, like everyone else is moving while you are standing still. But Allah is not punishing you. He is preparing you. It takes you into a quiet place because the healing you need cannot happen in public. It cannot happen while you are performing strength for people who never truly cared. It cannot happen while you are surrounded by noise, pressure, expectations, and emotional weight that never belong to you. So he heedeth you, not to erase you, but to rebuild you. He hides you from people so he can show you yourself. He hides you from the world so he can introduce you to the version he wrote in your destiny long before your pain tried to change you. Because the you the world knew was not the you Allah created. The world knew the tired you. Allah wants to reveal the peaceful you. The world knew the hurt you. Allah wants to reveal the healed you. The world knew the confused you. Allah wants to reveal the wise you. The world knew the exhausted, overgiving, self-sacrificing, silent suffering you. Allah wants to reveal the balanced you, the strong you, the grounded you, the spiritually awakened you. So he begins rewriting you in the quiet places of your life. You start noticing changes in your heart. You no longer tolerate disrespect. You no longer chase people who mistreat you. You no longer feel comfortable in environments that feel heavy. You no longer pretend to be okay just to keep others calm. These changes are not mood swings. They are signs of rebirth. Allah is softening what was hardened and strengthening what was weak. He is removing unhealthy attachments from the deepest corners of your soul. He is cleansing you from toxic beliefs about yourself. He is purifying you from voices that made you doubt your worth. And while all this is happening, you may feel lost. You may not recognize yourself. You may not understand why your heart is shifting so deeply. But you were never created to stay as the version of you that pain shaped. Allah is reshaping you into the version He intended from the beginning. So He heedeth you to heal the parts of you you stopped looking at, fix the wounds you learned to live with, strengthen the faith that kept you standing in your darkest nights, remove the fears that kept your potential locked away, silence the insecurities that made you shrink yourself, and rebuild the foundation of your heart so your future blessings can finally land safely. And during this hidden season, Allah begins to show you things you once ignored. You start noticing when someone's presence drains your peace. You start feeling when a place is no longer good for your soul. You start realizing that your worth was never tied to who stayed or who left. You start remembering that you were created for deeper things, for purer things, for calmer things. And this awareness is not random. It's part of the rewriting. Allah is removing the noise that was blocking your clarity. He is removing the people who were lowering your value. He is removing the distractions that kept your heart scattered. He is removing the old identity that was built in brokenness, because He is preparing a version of you that your past would not recognize. A version that breathes differently, walks differently, thinks differently, loves differently, trusts differently, prays differently, believes differently, lives differently. And when Allah finishes rewriting your soul, when the heaviness inside you finally melts, when the wounds close from the inside out, when the confusion turns into clarity, when the sadness turns into calm, when the fear turns into trust, that is when He reveals you. Your return will not be quiet, not because you seek attention, but because healing has a glow that cannot be hidden. People will look at you and wonder how someone who once broke so deeply now walks with so much peace. They will wonder how someone who once cried silently now speaks with such clarity. They will wonder how someone who once begged for love now radiates self-worth effortlessly. And you will know it wasn't you. It was Allah. It was always Allah. He hid you so He could heal you. He healed you so He could rewrite you. He rewrote you so He could reveal you. And the day He reveals you, your heart will whisper, Ya Allah, this is what you were building all along. My dear soul, There is something beautiful about the way Allah hides you. He doesn't hide you out of anger. He hides you out of love. He hides you because the world touched your heart in ways it was never built to handle. So He places you in a season where no one can reach you except Him. This hidden season is where the real transformation happens. This is where your heart begins to feel lighter, even if your life still looks the same. This is where you start waking up with a quiet kind of strength that even you cannot explain. This is where your soul begins to trust Allah in a deeper, softer, more intimate way. When Allah hides you, He removes the spotlight from your life so He can focus the light on your soul. You begin noticing blessings you used to overlook. You begin hearing your heart instead of the world. You begin feeling Allah's closeness in moments you once felt alone. Allah hides you to clean the mirrors of your heart. All the things that used to disturb you, all the things that used to break you, all the things that used to confuse you, He starts removing their power over you. Slowly, the fog begins to lift. The heaviness in your chest loosens. The things that once made you cry no longer have the same impact. The wounds that once controlled your emotions start losing their influence. And you begin to see that Allah wasn't punishing you. He was detoxing your soul. There are parts of you that couldn't grow in the environment you were in. There were habits in you that couldn't change while you were surrounded by old triggers. There were blessings written for you that couldn't arrive while you were emotionally occupied with things that weren't meant for you. So Allah, in His perfect wisdom, stripped your life down until only what He wanted remained. Yes, sometimes it looked like loss. Sometimes it felt like loneliness. Sometimes it looked like your world was falling apart. But in reality, everything unnecessary was being removed, so everything important could enter. Your relationships may have changed. Your friends may have become fewer. Your social circle may have disappeared. Your plans may have paused. But your soul started breathing differently. And this breath, this new, deeper, calmer breath was the first sign that Allah was rewriting you. He was teaching you how to rely on Him alone. Without leaning on people who were never meant to hold your heart, He was showing you that peace comes from Him, not from places you kept chasing. He was preparing you by giving you silence, because silence grows clarity and clarity grows strength. You felt distanced from people because Allah wanted to draw you closer to your own healing. You felt forgotten by the world because Allah wanted you to remember yourself again. You felt unseen because Allah was working on parts of you that nobody else had the right to see. He hid your pain from others because He wanted to heal you privately. He hid your heart so no one could break it again before He rebuilt it stronger. He hid your dreams so no one could sabotage them before He made them blossom. And while you were hidden, you began to grow patience. You began to grow wisdom. You began to grow gentleness. You began to grow strength. You began to grow clarity. You began to grow self-respect. You began to grow a deeper relationship with Allah that no one will ever understand but you. Your tears became your teachers. Your silence became your sanctuary. Your loneliness became your turning point. Your prayers became your armor. Your heartbreak became your awakening. Allah used every moment to soften what needed softening and strengthen what needed strengthening. He didn't rush your healing. He didn't force your growth. He didn't push your heart too fast. He guided you with mercy, with gentleness, with wisdom, with perfect timing. Every day in this hidden season shaped your soul in ways you will only understand later. And one day, when Allah decides the time is right, you will feel something shift. You will feel your heart stand taller. You will feel your mind think clearer. You will feel your spirit rise quietly with a confidence that didn't come from you. It came from Allah. You will walk differently. You will speak differently. You will love differently. You will choose differently. You will live differently Because the person you became in hiding is not the person you were before Allah took you away. And when He finally reveals you, when He finally brings you back into the world, when He finally opens the doors you were praying for, when He finally places you in the life you were meant for, people will look at you and they won't understand how you transformed in silence. They won't understand how you healed without announcing it. They won't understand how you found peace without their help. They won't understand how you became so calm, so wise, so clear, so strong, so rooted, so guided. But you will smile gently because you will know the truth. You were hidden so Allah could reveal you properly. You were quiet so Allah could speak into your heart. You were still so Allah could rewrite your destiny. You were alone so Allah could be enough for you. And when He reveals you, your rise will not be small. It will not be subtle. It will not be ordinary. It will be a rise built by Allah Himself. Beautiful, powerful, unexpected, undeniable. And your heart will whisper, Ya Allah, now I understand why you hid me. Oh, your isolation is a sacred workshop where Allah fixes what you don't speak about. There comes a time in your life when you don't understand why you suddenly feel alone, why your heart becomes quieter, why your circle becomes smaller, why conversations feel different, why places that once felt familiar now feel heavy and uncomfortable. It feels like life pushed you into a corner where you spend more time with yourself than with anyone else. But this isolation is not a punishment. This is not abandonment. This is not failure. This isolation is a sacred workshop, a private place created by Allah to fix the parts of you never learned how to speak about. You see, there are things inside you have carried for years without telling anyone, not because you wanted to hide, but because you never had the space to express the weight you were carrying. You learned to say, I'm fine, even when your heart felt like it was falling apart. You learned to laugh even when your soul was tired. You learned to be the strong one because nobody gave you the chance to be the wounded one. And so all the pain you swallowed, all the disappointments you buried, all the wounds you pretended were healed, they stayed inside you. Allah says how long you've carried what you never admitted. He knows the sadness behind your smile. He knows the fatigue behind your silence. He knows the fear behind your confidence. He knows the questions behind your faith. He knows the loneliness behind your kindness. He knows everything. You don't know how to explain. So He brings you into isolation because healing cannot happen. In the middle of noise, you cannot fix your heart. While you are still trying to be strong for others, you cannot discover yourself while you are surrounded by people pulling your attention in different directions. You cannot hear Allah's whispers while your life is flooded with distractions. So Allah takes you to a quiet place, a place where you breathe differently, a place where your soul becomes louder and the world becomes softer. And in this private place, without anyone else's opinions, without anyone else's expectations, without anyone else's pressure, Allah begins His work. This is where He starts fixing you. He brings old feelings to the surface, not to hurt you, but to release what was poisoning you inside. It makes you remember certain memories, not to make you cry, but to free you from beliefs that were built in those painful moments. He makes you feel emotions you buried, not to overwhelm you, but to clean the deep corners of your heart where wounds were hiding. Every tear that falls in isolation is a tear that washes part of your soul. Every moment of silence is a moment of connection between you and your Lord. Every time you feel lonely, is Allah inviting you to depend on Him more than anyone else. And slowly, very slowly, you begin to notice something changing. You begin to see yourself with honesty. You begin to see your worth without needing validation. You begin to see your past without feeling broken. You begin to see your pain as a lesson, not a prison. This is the workshop of Allah. He removes the heaviness you didn't know was weighing you down. He clears the confusion you thought you would never escape. He softens the anger you thought was part of your personality. He calms the storms inside you that you were hiding from everyone. He removes the layers of pain one by one, gently, carefully, lovingly, and in the process, He reveals parts of you forgot existed. You begin to feel things again, not the painful feelings, but the soft ones, the gentle ones, the hopeful ones. You begin to understand why certain people left. You begin to understand why certain things didn't work out. You begin to understand why Allah slowed down your life, right, when you wanted to speed up. You begin to understand that this isolation was never emptiness. It was training. You were being taught how to heal without hiding, how to trust without doubting, how to love without losing yourself, how to pray with depth instead of habit, how to carry peace instead of pretending to be okay. And while you sit in this isolation, you realize something profound. Allah didn't take you away from people. He took you away from pain. He separated you from the noise, from the drama, from the expectations, from the negativity, from the pressure, from the fake connections, from the emotional weight that damaged your heart. He placed you in this quiet season because He knew that your soul needed to breathe again. Isolation becomes the place where your heart finally speaks, where your tears finally fall without apology, where your soul finally stretches after years of being tight, where your mind finally slows down after months of racing, where your wounds finally open, not to hurt, but to heal. This is divine surgery, a heart operation without anesthesia, a cleansing of your soul that only Allah can supervise. And He does it gently. He never gives you more than you can handle. He never exposes more than you can process. He never pushes deeper than you can safely heal. He does it with mercy, with patience, with wisdom. Every layer that breaks is a layer that was hurting you. Every moment that feels heavy is a moment Allah is using to release something toxic. Every tear that falls is cleaning a wound you carried for years. Allah is not just fixing you, He is rebuilding you into someone who can carry the blessings He has written for you. Because the person you were before the isolation was not ready for what is coming. The heartbreak made you tired. The betrayals made you defensive. The disappointments made you fearful. The losses made you fragile. The mistakes made you doubt yourself. But the person you will become after this sacred workshop will be someone your past would never recognize. Someone emotionally stronger, spiritually calmer, mentally clearer, internally purified, deeply connected to Allah, anchored in peace, rooted in wisdom, and finally free. This isolation is not the end. This is the beginning of the real you, the version of you that Allah Himself is shaping in silence. My dear soul, as the days pass in this isolated season, you begin to notice something subtle yet powerful. Your soul becomes more awake. You start hearing yourself more clearly. You start understanding your emotions without running away from them. You start recognizing the thoughts that were never yours to begin with. You start separating who you are from who life forced you to be. This clarity does not come from people. It comes from solitude, from silence, from sitting with yourself long enough to finally meet the parts of you that were buried under years of pressure. You begin seeing your worth without seeking approval. You begin finding peace without needing company. You begin feeling Allah without hearing a single sound. You start realizing that the emptiness you feared was the doorway to fullness, that the loneliness you resisted was the path to connection, that the silence you hated was where Allah was whispering. This isolation becomes sacred because it is not a place of abandonment. It is a place of realignment. Allah is not distancing you from the world. He is bringing you closer to Him. He is bringing you closer to clarity. He is bringing you closer to the path you were always meant to walk. And in this private place, Allah begins to reveal the truths you were too busy to see. He shows you who genuinely cared and who was only comfortable with the broken version of you. He shows you who loved your soul and who loved your silence. He shows you who was loyal and who was simply convenient. He shows you who drained you and who nourished you. Not to make you bitter, but to make you wise. Because you cannot walk into your next chapter with the same relationships that damaged your last one. You begin realizing that your heart has been too soft with those who were too careless, too generous with those who were too ungrateful, too forgiving with those who were too repetitive in their harm. This awareness does not break you, it frees you. It releases you from carrying people who never carried you. Allah is not just healing your heart, He is protecting it from returning to the same habits that once destroyed its peace. And as your heart becomes clearer, you begin to understand something profound. The things you lost were not taken from you, they were removed to create room for what was truly yours. The relationships that ended because your heart needed space to grow. The friendships that faded because they could not follow you into your healing. The plans that collapsed because Allah had better ones waiting for you. Your isolation taught you that not everything you wanted was good for your soul. Some people were lessons, some were temporary, some were tests, some were detours, and some were simply bridges to lead you to where you needed to be. And once you understand this, you stop asking, why did they leave? And start whispering, Alhamdulillah that Allah protected me. The longer you sit in this divine workshop, the more your heart softens toward the decrees of Allah. You begin trusting what once terrified you. You begin accepting what once broke you. You begin understanding what once confused you. You start loving the silence you once tried to escape, because the silence becomes the place where Allah speaks to your soul in ways you cannot explain to anyone. There are moments in isolation where you feel tears rising without knowing why. There are moments where your heart suddenly feels lighter. There are moments where you feel a calmness that washes over you like a gentle wave. This is not randomness. This is healing. Allah is washing your heart from years of emotional dust. He is cleaning the inner stains left by disappointment. He is softening the scars left by betrayal. He is removing the bitterness left by heartbreak. Your tears are not weakness. They are your soul releasing what your mind tried to hold for too long. And when you finally reach the depth of this hidden season, you begin to notice a beautiful shift. Your prayers feel different. Your intention feels cleaner. Your mind feels clearer. Your heart feels lighter. Your soul feels closer to Allah. This is the proof that the workshop is working. You are no longer holding on to people out of fear of being alone. You are no longer carrying guilt for choosing yourself. You are no longer begging for space in the hearts of those who had no space for you. You are no longer chasing love that was half-hearted. You are no longer apologizing for wanting peace. You begin choosing what nourishes your soul. You begin rejecting what harms your spirit. You begin protecting what Allah healed. And this protection comes from a place of gratitude, not from fear. As you grow in isolation, you realize that this season was not meant to break you apart, but to bring you back to who you were always meant to be. Someone who no longer hides their heart. Someone who no longer tolerates disrespect. Someone who no longer shrinks to make others comfortable. Someone who no longer turns their back on their own emotions. Someone who finally understands their worth in the eyes of Allah. And when this transformation is complete, when your heart is steady, when your soul is clean, when your wounds are healed, when your clarity is strong, that is when Allah begins to open the doors that were closed. You begin seeing opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You begin experiencing blessings that once felt distant. You begin tasting peace that once felt impossible. You begin walking with confidence that once felt foreign. Your isolation ends not when you are lonely, but when you are ready. Ready for the next chapter. Ready for the people Allah will bring. Ready for the blessings He wrote. Ready for the life you were always meant to live. And when you step out of that hidden place, you will look back and finally understand you were not alone. You were being rebuilt. You were not forgotten. You were being prepared. You were not abandoned. You were being transformed. And your heart will whisper, Ya Allah, thank you for taking me away so you could bring me back as someone new. Allah removes people because their energy cannot walk into the life He is building for you. There comes a stage in your life when you suddenly look around and realize people you once loved deeply are no longer with you. Friends you trusted fade away. Family members become distant. People you opened your heart to become strangers. Connections you fought for collapse without warning. And you stand there wondering, what did I do wrong? Why is everyone leaving? Why does it feel like I'm the only one trying? But my dear one, you did not lose them. Allah removed them because their energy, their mindset, their habits, their intentions were never meant to walk into the future. Allah is preparing for you. You see, Allah knows the conversations you will never hear. He knows the jealousy you never noticed. He knows the hidden intentions you were too kind to consider. He knows the betrayal that was forming behind your back. He knows the disappointment you would have discovered when it was too late. And out of His mercy, He removes people before they can damage your destiny. Some people leave because of your growth. Some people leave because of your sincerity. Some people leave because your heart is too pure for their polluted intentions. Some people leave because the light inside you exposes the darkness inside them. Some people leave because your future is too big for their small mindsets. And some people leave simply because Allah said, this soul cannot walk with you anymore. You might cry when they go. You might feel abandoned. You might feel confused. You might feel broken. But what you don't see is what Allah is protecting you from. He removes people long before their presence become poison. He removes people when their energy begins to disturb your heart more than it comforts it. He removes people when their attachment to your life starts interfering with His plan. He removes people when their character cannot survive in the phase He is leading you into. You may think losing them is the worst thing that happened to you, but Allah knows it is the best thing for your heart. Sometimes you are praying for clarity and Allah answers with separation. Sometimes you are praying for happiness and Allah answers with distance. Sometimes you are praying for peace and Allah removes the very person who was disturbing it. You didn't know, but He did. There were people in your life who looked loyal but were secretly wishing for your downfall. Some who smiled at you but were carrying jealousy in their hearts. Some who loved your presence but hated your progress. Some who liked you broken because your growth would expose their laziness. Some who stayed close only to feed on your energy and call it friendship. Allah saw all of this even when you didn't. And because your heart is gentle, because your soul is soft, because your intentions are pure, He protected you by removing them quietly. But not all removals feel gentle. Some feel like heartbreak. Some feel like betrayal. Some feel like rejection. But my dear one, Allah does not remove anyone without a reason. He removes people who would block the blessings coming your way. He removes people who would not survive your elevation. He removes people whose character collapses in environments built for the chosen ones. There are blessings written for you that your old circle does not have the capacity to handle. You cannot enter a palace with people who belong to a prison. You cannot grow wings around people who choose to crawl. You cannot be a person of light around souls who choose darkness. Allah removes people so your rise is not delayed. He removes people so your spirit is not drained. He removes people so your purpose is not sabotaged. He removes people so your heart is not shattered later. Do you know why some people suddenly switch on you? Because Allah heard conversations you weren't meant to hear. He saw the disrespect you didn't catch. He felt the arrogance you were too humble to notice. He watched their intentions long before they acted on them. So He closed the chapter before it could damage your soul. And here's the truth. Some people were never meant to stay. They were only meant to pass through your life, to teach you a lesson, to open your eyes, to strengthen your boundaries, to grow your wisdom, to deepen your relationship with Allah, to prepare you for higher levels. Every person that left made space for someone better, someone a kinder, someone more aligned with your soul, someone who protects your heart instead of playing with it, someone who supports your journey instead of slowing it, someone who prays for you instead of competing with you, someone who celebrates your rise instead of fearing it. Allah removed the wrong people so the right people can find you easily. But there is something even deeper. Allah removes people because your energy has changed. When your soul grows, your circle shrinks. When your heart heals, your standards rise. When your mind expands, your tolerance decreases. When your spirit elevates, your old connections cannot breathe in your new atmosphere. People who belong to your wounds cannot survive your healing. People who bonded with your pain cannot walk with your strength. People who benefited from your silence cannot handle your voice. People who loved you confused cannot understand you clear. People who connected with your brokenness cannot embrace your wholeness. So Allah removes them before you shrink yourself just to keep them. He removes them before they convince you that you are hard to love. He removes them before they distract you from the path He set for you. He removes them before they break your heart in a way that would take years to repair. And when they leave, or when Allah removes them, you might not see the wisdom immediately. Loss often feels painful before it feels protective. Distance feels confusing before it feels peaceful. Separation feels heavy before it feels freeing. But trust the one who writes your story. The people who walked out were never tied to your destiny. If they were meant to stay, Allah would have kept them. If they were good for your heart, Allah would have protected the bond. If they were part of your future, Allah would not remove them. But He did, because your future is too sacred for the energy they carry. Your heart feels restless because Allah is redirecting you from a path that would break you. My dear soul, there are moments in your life when your heart suddenly changes its rhythm. Something that once felt right now feels empty. A path you once walked with confidence now feels heavy. A person you once trusted now feels distant in your soul. A place that once gave you comfort now feels suffocating. And you sit there wondering, what is wrong with me? Why don't I feel the same anymore? Why is my heart restless for no reason? Why do I keep feeling like I'm in the wrong place? But my dear one, your heart is not betraying you. Your heart is guiding you. And this restlessness is not confusion. It is direction. It is Allah redirecting you from a path that would break you. You see, your heart knows what your eyes can't see. Your soul senses what your mind cannot explain. Your spirit feels what your logic doesn't understand. Allah is the one who places these feelings deep inside you to protect you from what you are unable to recognize. This is why the plan you thought was perfect suddenly feels wrong. This is why the relationship you begged Allah to save suddenly feels heavy. This is why the opportunity you thought was a blessing suddenly loses its glow. This is why the life you tried so hard to build suddenly feels too small for your soul. Because Allah sees the ending you cannot see. He sees the heartbreak you would walk into. He sees the disappointment that would crush your spirit. He sees the betrayal that would destroy your trust. He sees the pain that would come from a path you are too innocent to suspect. So before you can take another step, Allah places a restlessness inside you as a warning, not to scare you, but to save you. Not to make you doubt yourself, but to make you trust Him. Not to confuse you, but to protect your future. It disturbs your peace around the wrong people, so you don't attach your soul where it does not belong. It removes excitement from the wrong dream, so you don't build your life around something that will collapse. He takes away desire from the wrong path, so you don't keep walking toward your own heartbreak. Sometimes your heart feels heavy, not because something bad happened, but because Allah is showing you that the path you're choosing is not yours. You ask for guidance, and Allah answers with restlessness. You ask for peace, and Allah removes the source of anxiety. You ask for success, and Allah pulls you away from the opportunity that would ruin your soul. This discomfort is not the enemy. This discomfort is divine protection. It is Allah whispering, "My servant, not this way. I wrote something better for you." When your soul feels restless around someone, that is Allah protecting your heart. When your mind cannot settle on a decision, that is Allah protecting your future. When your chest feels tight around a certain environment, that is Allah telling you, this place is not good for you. When your energy feels drained by a certain plan, that is Allah showing you, this is not where you will grow. Restlessness comes when Allah is removing you from what you were forcing. You thought you were losing direction, but Allah was giving it to you. You thought you were falling apart, but Allah was detaching you from something harmful. You thought you were confused, but Allah was clearing your path by making the wrong one uncomfortable. Your heart is not restless without a reason. There is always a reason. Sometimes Allah makes your heart heavy to prevent it from breaking later. Sometimes Allah makes you uncomfortable so you don't become trapped in what is not meant for you. Sometimes Allah makes you lose interest in something you once loved because He has something better waiting for you. And sometimes Allah turns the sweetest dream bitter because the future version of you cannot thrive in it. You cannot understand the wisdom of the moment while you are inside it. But one day you will look back and say, "Ya Allah, if you didn't make me restless, I would have destroyed myself." This restlessness is not a punishment. It is protection. It is preparation. It is redirection. It is Allah moving you to a path that aligns with your destiny. And the truth is, you can't stay where your soul no longer belongs. You cannot grow in a place Allah has already emptied. You cannot find peace in a connection Allah has already ended. You cannot feel joy in a direction Allah has already closed. You cannot feel alive in a story Allah has already rewritten. So He lets you feel the discomfort before the destruction. He lets you feel the heaviness before the heartbreak. He lets you feel the misalignment before the mistake. He lets you feel the unrest before you walk too far into harm. Allah loves you too much to let you continue on a path that would crush your spirit. His redirection often looks like frustration. His protection often looks like discomfort. His mercy often looks like loss. But the truth is, your heart's restlessness is the first sign that your life is about to change. Allah is preparing a better path, a safer path, a poor path, a path where your heart won't have to beg for peace, a path where your soul won't have to fight for joy, a path where your spirit won't have to shrink to survive. He is directing you toward people who will value you, toward places that will grow you, toward opportunities that will elevate you, toward blessings that won't break you. And one day you will wake up and realize the restlessness was not random. It was the map, it was the sign, it was the warning, it was the guidance, it was the protection It was the preparation, and your heart will whisper, I didn't lose anything. Allah was redirecting me toward what was mine. Allah ends the tests that were weakening your spirit. There comes a point in life when you feel like you've been tested over and over again. Your heart gets tired. Your strength gets thin. Your patience begins to tremble. Your spirit starts whispering, how much longer? How much more can I carry? When will this end? You wake up tired. You go to sleep tired. You pray with tears. You smile with effort. You survive each day with a heart that feels heavier than your words can express. And silently, without saying it out loud, you begin to wonder if Allah has forgotten you. But my dear one, Allah does not forget. He does not overlook. He does not ignore. He is the one who counts every tear, every heartbeat, every quiet prayer, every sleepless night, every moment you felt like breaking but chose patience instead. Allah knows how long you've been carrying what would have crushed someone else. He knows the emotional storms you endured with dignity. He knows the hardships you kept private. He knows the hurt you buried in silence. He knows the moments you wanted to give up but held on to Him instead. And when He sees that a test is no longer growing you but breaking you, He ends it. Not because you failed, but because you passed. You earned your relief long before you received it. Allah ended certain tests because your spirit was reaching the edge of exhaustion, because your heart was growing too tired to breathe, because your soul needed space to heal. Tests are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to shape you. But Allah, in His mercy, knows exactly when a test stops shaping you and starts draining you. And that is when He says, enough, my servant has carried enough. This is why some situations end suddenly. Some people disappear quietly. Some problems dissolve unexpectedly. Some burdens lift overnight. It is not luck. It is not chance. It is not coincidence. It is Allah ending a test that was weakening your spirit. You may not realize it, but some tests were so heavy that if Allah didn't remove them, you would have broken internally. Some heartbreaks would have shattered you. Some relationships would have damaged you. Some friendships would have drained you. Some environments would have drowned you. Some responsibilities would have suffocated you. Some opportunities would have destroyed your peace. Allah saw the weight you were trying to carry with a smile. A weight no one else noticed. A weight you pretended was nothing, because you didn't want to burden anyone. But Allah knew. He knew the hidden pain you pushed through every day. He knew the fear you kept silent. He knew the sadness you didn't have words for. He knew the pressure you felt trapped under. He knew the loneliness that followed you everywhere. And when your spirit reached a point where one more test would have made you collapse inside, Allah intervened. He stepped in with His mercy, with His protection, with His kindness, with His perfect timing. He removed what was breaking you. He ended what was draining you. He stopped what was damaging you. He closed what was hurting you, because Allah never lets a test continue once it starts harming your soul more than helping it grow. He ended certain chapters, not because you were weak, but because your heart had already survived enough. Your tears had already taught you. Your patience had already elevated you. Your faith had already matured you. Your strength had already been proven in ways no one else saw. And Allah said, my beloved servant has endured enough. Now it is time for ease. Now it is time for healing. Now it is time for restoration. Al-Kumala. So He took you out of certain storms before they drowned you. He removed certain people before they destroyed your peace. He shut certain doors before they ruined your future. He ended certain hardships before they emptied your heart. Some tests end not because you prayed for relief, but because Allah's love for you does not let Him watch you break. You didn't know that you were on the edge, but He knew. So He stopped the test before it reached that point. You survived things that should have destroyed you, because Allah stepped in right when your spirit could no longer carry the weight. He didn't let you fall. He caught you in ways you didn't recognize at the time. Every disaster avoided, every problem solved, every pain removed, every door closed, every person left, every burden lifted, was Allah saying, I am protecting your heart. I am safeguarding your spirit. I am ending what your soul can no longer endure. Some tests ended even while you were still wondering why things were falling apart. But later, sometimes months later, sometimes years later, you look back and realize you would not be alive emotionally if Allah didn't end that chapter when He did. Your spirit was tired and Allah honored that. Your heart was breaking and Allah healed it quietly. Your patience was thinning and Allah sent relief. Your strength was fading and Allah carried you, and the tests that once felt endless suddenly disappeared. Not because life changed, but because Allah decided you had grown enough. He ended the test because He was preparing you for a different phase, a softer phase, a more beautiful phase. A phase of rest after a season of exhaustion, a phase of peace after years of heaviness, a phase of clarity after months of confusion, a phase of blessings after cycles of endurance. Allah ends the tests that start weakening your spirit so your heart can finally breathe again, so your soul can finally recover, so your eyes can finally smile without force, so your chest can finally feel light again, so your mind can finally calm down, so your heart can finally feel safe. And when you look back, you will see it. The tests ended right when your spirit could no longer carry them, because Allah never breaks the hearts that turn to Him. Allah removes what you were forced to carry so He can give you what was written for you. There are things you carried in your life, not because you wanted to, but because life forced them onto your shoulders. Burden after burden, wound after wound, fear after fear, responsibility after responsibility. You became the strong one because you had no choice. You became the patient one because the situation demanded it. You became the forgiving one because the alternative was too painful. You carried people who never carried you. You carried secrets that were never yours. You carried emotions that were too heavy for your heart. You carried guilt that did not belong to you. You carried relationships that drained your soul. You carried expectations that suffocated your spirit. And through all of this, you kept walking. You didn't stop. You didn't break. You didn't run away. You didn't complain. You simply held everything inside because you thought that was strength. But Allah saw you. Allah saw the weight on your back that others never noticed. He saw the late night tears you wiped carefully. He saw the moments you swallowed pain just to keep peace. He saw the responsibilities you carried alone because no one asked if you were okay. He saw how your heart kept becoming heavier even while your smile kept becoming softer. And Allah, in His mercy, said, "This servant of mine has carried enough. Now it is my turn to carry for them." So He started removing what you were forced to carry, not all at once, but slowly, gently, in ways you didn't understand at the time. People began leaving your life, not because you were unlovable, but because their presence was never meant to stay on your shoulders. Responsibilities shifted, not because you were incapable, but because Allah saw how they were breaking you. Plan collapsed, not because you were unworthy, but because Allah knew that the path you were walking was too heavy for your future. And some endings hurt you deeply because you didn't know that Allah ending something is sometimes the greatest mercy He can give. The things you lost were often the things that were killing you inside. The friendships that faded were friendships you were overkeeping alone. The people who left were people whose energy was crushing your worth. the plans that shattered were plans that didn't match the destiny Allah wrote for you. The dreams that changed were dreams too small for the person you are becoming. Allah removed what you were forced to carry because He knew that your heart wasn't built to walk a lifetime with those burdens. He knew the relationships you were holding together with your bare hands were not your responsibility. He knew the expectations you kept trying to meet were not healthy for your soul. He knew the pressure you were living under was stealing your inner peace. He knew the emotional weight you agreed to carry was slowly draining your spirit. So He removed them piece by piece, moment by moment, day by day. And sometimes the removal felt like loss. But my dear one, it wasn't loss. It was release. Allah was not taking from you. He was freeing you from emotions that were too heavy, freeing you from people who were too draining, freeing you from roles you were never meant to perform, freeing you from environments that were suffocating your growth, freeing you from cycles that were breaking your heart. Every time you cried over something leaving, your soul was actually crying because it didn't understand that Allah was making space for something better. You thought you would break if certain people left, but look at you now. Your heart is lighter. You thought you would collapse if certain responsibilities ended, but look at you now. You are breathing again. You thought you failed when certain chapters closed, but later you realized those chapters were never yours to continue. Allah removes what you were forced to carry because what He has written for you requires a free heart, a lighter spirit, a cleaner mind, and a stronger soul. And you cannot receive what is written for you when your hands are full of weights you were never meant to hold. There are blessings that cannot come until certain burdens leave. There are people who cannot enter until certain people exit. There are opportunities that cannot appear until certain distractions vanish. There are miracles that cannot unfold until certain emotional storms settle. And so Allah clears the space, sometimes gently, sometimes suddenly, sometimes painfully, but always wisely, always perfectly, always with love. He removes the job that was suffocating your spirit so He can give you the career that will nourish your soul. He removes the person who kept hurting your heart so He can give you someone who aligns with your destiny. He removes the dream that was too small so He can give you a dream that matches your potential. He removes the pressure that broke your back so He can give you peace that strengthens you. He removes the pain you normalized so He can give you joy you didn't think you deserved. Allah removes what you were forced to carry so He can give you what was written for you before you were born. And what is written for you will not exhaust you. It will not break you. It will not drain your soul. It will not crush your heart. It will not make you beg for love, attention, respect, or peace. What is written for you will feel lighter, smoother, calmer, kinder, more aligned, more natural, more peaceful. It will feel like it was always yours because it was. Allah is not emptying your life. He is preparing your space. He is not taking away your comfort. He is giving you true comfort. He is not punishing you. He is elevating you. He is not removing your life. He is rewriting your life into something greater. And when the new blessing arrives, the one written for you, the one chosen for you, the one that matches your soul, you will look back and finally understand why Allah removed everything you once clung to. You will whisper with tears, Ya Allah, thank you for taking away what I begged you to keep. Because what you gave me instead is exactly what my heart was created for. Your painful memories are being rewritten as wisdom you will one day use to help others. My dear soul, there are memories inside you that you don't talk about, memories that visit you late at night when the world becomes quiet, memories that make your chest tighten and your eyes soften Memories you thought time had erased, but still live in the corners of your heart. Moments that hurt you deeply, moments that changed you silently, moments that you survived physically but never healed from emotionally. Times when people broke you and you stayed silent. Times when you trusted someone and they walked away. Times when you needed someone and no one came. Times when you cried quietly in the dark and wiped your own tears. Times when your soul was shaking, but you kept smiling in public because you didn't want anyone to worry. These memories sit inside you like unspoken stories, like unfinished chapters, like wounds that never had the chance to breathe openly. You carry these memories because life moved forward even while you were still hurting. But here is the truth that your heart needs to hear. Allah did not let you walk through those painful memories just to break you. He allowed them so He could transform them. Your painful memories are not there to haunt you. They are being rewritten into wisdom, compassion, strength, and spiritual depth that you will one day use to lift someone else. You didn't go through all of that for nothing. Every pain you survived is becoming a torch you will one day use to guide someone else out of the dark. Every heartbreak that shattered you is becoming the softness that will help you understand the broken-hearted. Every disappointment is becoming a lesson you will one day share to protect someone from the same mistake. Every lonely night is becoming the empathy you will one day offer to someone who feels unseen. Every tear you cry is becoming the strength that will make you unshakable when someone else leans on you. Allah never wastes pain, never. You may think your story is messy. You may think your past is heavy. You may think your memories are too painful to carry. But my dear one, Allah is rewriting them, not by erasing them, but by giving them meaning. There is a version of you growing inside all of that pain, a version that understands life with deeper wisdom, greater insight, and more compassionate eyes. You didn't become kind because life was kind to you. You became kind because life broke you in ways you never want anyone else to experience. You didn't become strong because life made things easy. You became strong because life tested you in ways no one else saw. You didn't become wise because you read books. You became wise because you lived through storms that forced your soul to grow. You didn't become patient because you had options. You became patient because pain didn't give you a choice. Allah is taking all those memories, every heartbreak, every betrayal, every disappointment, every moment of loneliness, every silent cry, every hidden wound, every broken piece, and He is shaping them into a version of you that will one day be a healing shelter for someone who is drowning in the same storms you survived. You will one day speak, and someone will say, "How did you know what I'm feeling?" Because you once felt it so deeply that it carved wisdom into your soul. You will one day comfort someone who cannot explain their pain, and your words will touch them because they will come from a place of experience, not theory. You will one day recognize the sadness behind someone's smile because you once hid the same sadness behind your own. You will one day guide someone who feels lost because you once wandered through confusion and found your way back to Allah's path. Your pain is becoming your qualification to help others heal. Your memories are becoming your credentials in compassion. Your scars are becoming your certificate of survival. Your hardships are becoming your spiritual training. Nothing you went through was useless. Not a single moment. Even the nights you thought were wasted were actually nights Allah was using to purify your heart and deepen your soul. Even the tears you think were meaningless were tears Allah counted and turned into strength. Even the heartbreak you thought was destroying you, was actually breaking open a deeper understanding that wisdom comes from wounds that finally learned how to breathe. Allah will one day place someone in your life who needs the exact lesson you learned through your most painful memory. And in that moment, you will understand why Allah allowed that memory to exist in the first place. Because you can't guide someone out of a fire. You never felt the heat of. You can't lift someone from a pit you've never climbed out of. You can't comfort someone's pain unless your own pain has taught you what comfort feels like. You can only teach what you have lived, and you have lived through enough storms to guide a whole generation. You survived heartbreak that could have made you hard, but it made you gentle. You survived betrayal that could have made you bitter, but it made you wiser. You survived loneliness that could have made you cold, but it made you feel Allah in ways others cannot understand. You survived confusion that could have made you numb, but it made you reflective, deep, thoughtful. You survived losses that could have made you angry, but they made you grateful for every breath. Every painful memory in your life is being rewritten into a chapter of healing. Not healing for you only, but healing for others as well. Because when Allah gives you pain, He is preparing you to become someone's shelter. When Allah gives you wounds, He is preparing you to become someone's comfort. When Allah gives you tears, He is preparing you to become someone's voice of hope. When Allah gives you heartbreak, He is preparing you to become someone's reminder that hearts can heal. Your pain will one day speak in ways your strength cannot. Your tears will one day teach in ways your words never could. Your scars will one day light the path for someone who is walking through darkness. And in that moment, years from now, your heart will whisper, Ya Allah, this is why you wrote those memories. This is why you let me feel that pain. This is why you didn't remove the storm. Because one day, someone needed the version of me. Those storms created. Your big reveal will arrive when your heart is strong enough to carry the blessing. My dear soul, there is a moment in your life when everything begins to make sense. The delays, the heartbreaks, the separations, the painful lessons, the unexpected changes, the silent nights, the unanswered prayers, the slow seasons. But that moment comes only when your heart has finally become strong enough to carry what Allah has written for you. You see your big reveal the moment Allah lifts you, honors you, opens your doors, brings your blessings, answers your prayers, and reveals your purpose. Does not arrive when you want it. It arrives when you are ready for it. Not physically ready, not financially ready, not socially ready, not emotionally comfortable, but spiritually ready. Ready in your heart, ready in your faith, ready in your trust, ready in your patience, ready in your wisdom. Because blessings are heavy even when they are beautiful. And Allah will never place a blessing on a heart that is not strong enough to hold it without breaking. You may believe you're ready. You may think you're prepared. You may feel like you've waited enough. You may say, Ya Allah, give it to me now. I can handle it. I am prepared. But Allah knows the truth you do not see. He knows the cracks in your heart that still need healing. He knows the wounds you still hide under your smile. He knows the habits that would ruin what He wants to give you. He knows the people you would mistakenly trust if the blessing arrived too early. He knows the doubts that would weaken your gratitude. He knows the fears that would limit your growth. So He delays the blessing not to break you, but to build you. Not to punish you, but to strengthen you. Not to stop you, but to prepare you. Not to test your pain, but to test your patience. And every delay is actually a divine training. Every disappointment is actually a spiritual exercise. Every heartbreak is actually a lesson that purifies your heart for what is coming. Allah does not reveal your blessing when the world is ready to see it. He reveals it when you are ready to carry it. Your heart must be able to carry success. Without arrogance, carry blessings. Without forgetfulness, carry growth. Without pride, carry love. Without attachment, carry opportunity. Without fear, carry trials. Without breaking, carry elevation. Without ego, carry responsibility. Without collapse, carry gratitude. Without comparison. And that takes time, a lot of time. This is why your big reveal is always delayed. Allah is not preparing the blessing, He is preparing you. The blessing already exists. It was written before you were born. Your name is already on it. Your destiny is already carved. Your story is already protected. But your heart is still being shaped into the version that can carry it. Your seasons of loneliness were building your emotional resilience. Your seasons of heartbreak were building your compassion. Your seasons of disappointment were building your humility. Your seasons of confusion were building your reliance on Allah. Your seasons of silence were building your spiritual connection. Your seasons of waiting were building your patience. Your seasons of heaviness were building your inner strength. Your seasons of loss were building your ability to appreciate blessings when they finally arrive. Nothing was wasted. Not a single moment, not a single tear, not a single frustration. Everything was shaping the heart that would carry your future. Because your big reveal is not a small moment. It is a moment that will be so beautiful, so unexpected, so perfectly timed that you will look back at every delay with gratitude instead of pain. You will say, Ya Allah, if you gave this to me earlier, I would not have been ready. I would have lost it. I would have misused it. I would have taken it for granted. I would have shared it with the wrong people. I would have ruined it. With a heart that was still broken, you needed the delay. You needed the healing. You needed the waiting. You needed the transformation. Because the future version of you is far stronger than the past version of you. The blessing belongs to the version of you that Allah is still building. This is why your life felt stuck for so long. You were in spiritual construction. Your heart was being renovated. Your soul was being repaired. Your faith was being expanded. Your character was being polished. Your wounds were being healed. Your attachments were being purified, because Allah refuses to give you a blessing that your heart is not ready to honor. He wants your blessing to elevate you, not destroy you. He wants your success to soften you, not harden you. He wants your opportunities to grow you, not misguide you. He wants your relationships to bless you, not break you. He wants your elevation to be safe, not rushed. So he delays. He prepares, He builds, He transforms. And all the while, you think nothing is happening. But in reality, everything is happening. Your heart is changing. Your mind is maturing. Your faith is deepening. Your understanding is expanding. Your soul is rising. The old version of you cannot carry what is coming. This is why Allah kept you hidden. This is why He isolated you. This is why He removed people. This is why He redirected your path. This is why He closed what you begged for. This is why He delayed what you prayed for. Your heart needed strength, the kind of strength that can only come from pain, from waiting, from surrender, from growth, from patience, from trust. And now you are becoming the version that can finally carry the blessing. Not break under it, not misuse it, not lose it, not ruin it, not hand it to the wrong people, but honor it, protect it, value it, respect it, carry it with humility, carry it with gratitude, carry it with spiritual maturity. And when Allah sees that your heart is ready, truly ready, your big reveal will arrive effortlessly, quietly, powerfully, beautifully, just as written. And you will stand there speechless with tears in your eyes, whispering, Ya Allah, now I understand the delays. Now I understand the waiting. Now I understand the silence. Now I understand why nothing worked earlier. My heart wasn't ready, but now it is strong enough to carry what you wrote for me. My dear soul, if you made it to the end of this reminder, then know this: your heart is waking up. Something inside you is shifting. Something inside you is healing. Something inside you is understanding what it couldn't understand before. Maybe the world never saw your pain. Maybe the people around you never noticed your silent struggles. Maybe your tears dried before anyone could ask, "Are you okay?" But Allah saw everything. He saw the nights you whispered into your pillow. He saw the moments you held your breath so your sadness wouldn't escape. He saw the days you pushed yourself when you had nothing left to give. And today, Allah brought you here so your heart could hear what it has been needing for years. You are not delayed. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are being prepared. Your story is not in the hands of people. Your story is in the hands of the one who can turn darkness into dawn within a single heartbeat. So breathe. The things you lost were never meant to stay. The people who left were part of a chapter that Allah has already closed. The moments that broke you were actually moments Allah used to rebuild you. And the blessing He is preparing for you, the one that matches your soul, your patience, your wounds, your growth, your destiny, is still coming. Not late, not early, exactly on time. Your job was never to figure out the how. Your job was always to hold on to Allah while He writes the rest of your story. So walk into tomorrow with a softer heart and a stronger trust, because one day you will look back at this very moment and say, "This is where my life began to change." May Allah heal your heart, lift your soul, protect your path, and reveal the chapter you have been waiting for with patience and hope. Amen.